with your host, Dr. Bill Bushing. The sea bass family contains about 450 species, including small fish and the large groupers. Members that I caught on camera included the peacock grouper, masked grouper, coral grouper, saddle grouper, slender grouper, and what appears to be the camouflage grouper. But the one I was most excited about was getting to film the somewhat elusive barramundi, or leatherfish, or pantherfish, depending on what your preference is. All these sea bass are carnivorous and feed mostly on smaller fish and crustaceans. The anthias are considered a subfamily of the sea bass and feed on zooplankton. Members of the snapper family are mostly active carnivores that feed on fish and crustaceans, although some do feed on plankton. Most, like the black spot, black tail, blue stripe, red, William, what about the two spot? And the black-banded snappers. And a few I couldn't identify resemble snappers I'm familiar with in other areas of the world. However, the black snapper, and midnight snapper, seen here in its intermediate stage, are not like others I've seen and have a more robust, less streamlined body. Fusiliers are related to the snappers, but are plankton feeders with extensible jaws. They include the beautiful schooling blue streak, lunar and scissortail, and yellowtail fusilier. They often form mixed schools. I like see yellow boxfish. Puffers include the black spotted in 2 different color variants, white spotted, blue spotted, You are losing it, my friend. You almost forgot the star puffer. They may be the second most poisonous vertebrates after the golden poison frog. Certain of their internal organs, such as the liver, contain the neurotoxin tetrodotoxin, which may also be in their skin, so touching them is not advised. This defense helps compensate for their slow movement, although they are highly maneuverable due to the array of fins. Their second line of defense is through inflating their bodies. Barracuda are long, slender fish with prominent, sharp teeth and often an underbite. It was easy to identify the blackfin due to its black tail and chevron markings on the side. Other species I saw were a little more difficult. However, this is one barracuda I did not see in Palau. The sea chubs pretty much kept a respectable distance from my camera, making it hard to identify them to species. Yes, William, but I think this is the gray drummer. Oh, thanks, Jean-Michel. Jacks are usually referred to as trevally in the western Pacific. These fast-moving predatory fish include the coach whip, blue, and bluefin. With some species forming very large schools. The mackerel family includes the tuna and many of the other important food fish, such as the mackerel and bonita. I did enjoy a nice tuna melt at Kramer's. 2 small fish families could form their own brass band. I'm referring to the cornet fish and the trumpet fish. They are related but in separate fish families. The trumpet fish or flute mouth is a highly carnivorous species. They stalk prey by hovering nearly motionless and then expanding their mouth to create suction, kind of like a deadly slurp gun. Cornet fish, which are also called flute mouths, feed on small fishes, crustaceans, and other invertebrates. Goatfish are tireless bottom feeders using a long set of chemosensory barbels to seek anything edible in soft substrate, including worms, crustaceans, mollusks, and other small invertebrates. The dust cloud generated as they feed can look like a small group of open water scuba students. They include the dash dot, double bar, and gold saddle. By day they may form large, non-feeding schools, then disperse individually at night to feed. But some, like this one, must not have their clocks set properly. Sweetlips are in the grunt family and have big fleshy lips. Species include the harlequin, or many-spotted sweetlips, the striped sweetlips, and the oriental sweetlips, which I saw far fewer of in Palau than in the Philippines. These species often associate with one another during day and venture out from their shelters at night to feed on bottom-dwelling invertebrates such as worms, shrimp, and small crabs. The juveniles often look quite different from the adults, as you can see in this footage of juveniles from the Philippines. The scorpionfish include nearly 400 species globally. The red lionfish is an ambush predator feeding on fish, shrimp, and crabs. Their spines are highly venomous and can inflict a painful sting. However, I see far fewer of them here in their native region than I do in places they've invaded like the Caribbean. The other scorpionfish I filmed was the leaf scorpionfish, which is also an ambush predator. Its venom is weaker than that of many of its relatives. Although this one was green, they may also be red, pink, brown, ochre, yellowish, or ghostly white. It reminded me of the weedy scorpionfish, or Rhinopeus, I filmed in the Philippines 2 years ago. I only saw one leafy scorpionfish on 2 dives, and at first I thought this was another one. Rabbitfish represented another new family for me, with several sightings of the masked rabbitfish, also known as the decorated rabbitfish, and masked spinefoot. Be careful around them, as the spines are poisonous. Triggerfish in Palau included the very common red-toothed triggerfish, often seen in large schools, and the pink-tailed triggerfish, usually seen individually. Others included the beautiful clown triggerfish, a favorite of mine and a prime target for the aquarium trade, the orange line trigger, the scythe trigger, the large titan trigger, and the yellow margin triggerfish. Most species have a mouth with strong jaws and teeth used to crush shells, since the typical diet includes slow-moving benthic crustaceans, mollusks, sea urchins and other echinoderms, and fish. However, the red-toothed triggerfish feeds mostly on plankton, but also eats sponges. Years ago, I was attacked by a titan triggerfish in Tahiti, so I was very wary of them. Apparently the Tahitians fear them more than sharks. Here in Palau, I was attacked twice, but by yellow margin triggerfish defending the conical-shaped territories above their nests on the bottom. The males defend a territory that usually includes several females, but both parents tend the eggs, although females are the ones that guard the nest. This species spawns in morning, and eggs hatch after sunset the same day. Filefish include the scrawled filefish, also known as the scribbled filefish, broomtail filefish, or scribbled leatherjacket. This family is often linked to the triggerfish. They are circumtropical and demersal, meaning living near the bottom. Usually they are solitary, but I did see this rare pair. These filefish feed on small crustaceans, algae, gorgonians, anemones, tunicates, and fire coral. Heh, some like it hot. I easily recognize the local tilefish species due to their behavior, which closely mirrored that of our ocean whitefish here in California. They generally stay near the bottom and duck into burrows or other shelters when threatened. Local species included the flagtail tilefish and the blue blanquillo. Tilefish feed on bottom-dwelling invertebrates, especially crustaceans such as crab and shrimp, mollusks, worms, sea urchins, and small fish. Many species form monogamous pairs. How sweet! Another fish family I don't encounter in temperate waters is the coral breams. In Palau they include the redfin, bridled monocle, and hump-nosed big-eye bream. These benthic carnivores feed on smaller fishes, cephalopods, crustaceans, and polychaetes, although a few eat plankton. There were some fish species I saw in much lower numbers than I expected. For example, the moray eels seem to be very poorly represented in Palau. I saw just a single moray being cleaned by a wrasse. In Jellyfish Lake, I saw one species of cardinalfish, the orbicular cardinalfish, which looks quite different to me from cardinalfish I've seen elsewhere, such as the Guadalupe cardinalfish from Catalina and Mexican waters. I also saw these unidentified fish in Jellyfish Lake. I saw a single flathead, the crocodile fish, or crocodile flathead. These are not related to the Flathead Indian tribe. I recognized it immediately due to the unusual head and body shape. This one was dark in color, but they can change color to match their surroundings. Their eyes are on top of the head, giving excellent 3D vision, allowing them to ambush fish and shrimp. The spikes on the head contain painful venom, although it is not fatal. The two-tone dartfish was the only member of this family I filmed. Likewise with the blue-striped fang blenny, which has two distinct color variants. They mimic juvenile blue-streaked cleaner wrasse and wait at cleaning stations, using their fang-like teeth containing poison glands to grab a biteful of skin from unsuspecting visitors. Here you see a related species of fang blenny in the Sea of Cortez attacking a ray. I only filmed one shrimp goby. They have a commensal relationship with burrowing shrimp. There are about 35 species of garden eels worldwide. They live in burrows with their heads sticking out until danger is sensed. I only filmed one hawkfish, a color variant of the freckled hawkfish. The last bony fish family I saw was the remora, or shark sucker, with its first dorsal fin modified into a sucker disc that allows it to attach to sharks, manta rays, turtles, whales, and other large critters. This one attempted to attach to me in a rather private place, as well as to another male diver. Stay tuned for future dive travels of Lonely Dr. Bill. Sniff.